He said, now, when somebody die for playing with my son, then call me the crash out, okay? Clearly, I'll say, no judgment, visceral reaction, okay? Somebody starts getting involved with you and your children and your children's relationship. That I understand. However, this response from a divorce context, absolutely not something that you want to see. All right. Well, welcome back to the No Judgment podcast. Today, we've got a very exciting episode. Some of you may have seen this very drama-filled separation here. Today, we're going to be talking about the separation between Cardi B and Offset. Some recent new information coming out on this one from the parties, actually, from Cardi B and Offset. As you may have seen earlier this week, the week we're taping this, Cardi B posted on her Instagram several pictures with her new boyfriend, Stefon Diggs, who you may know from the NFL, if you are a fantasy football player like myself, or if you probably live in Minnesota, you probably know Stefon Diggs. And so they hard launched their new relationship on Instagram, a bunch of posts, pictures, videos, some probably a little more risque than what we're going to post on our page here. But, you can go over to Instagram, check those out. But on there, she posts a bunch of pictures with her new boyfriend. And as you may know, Cardi B and Offset are going through a divorce. This is the second time, actually, that she has filed for divorce. And they have 3 children together. From the reports that I've read, they have already stipulated to having joint custody of their children, but they are still working out the rest of the details of their divorce. And at least according to what I've seen, what may have spurred this is Offset has requested spousal maintenance, or what we used to call alimony, and also has requested child support. And I haven't seen the court pleadings yet, but in there, he is requesting spousal maintenance, child support. And so Cardi B posted these pictures. There's also been some posts on X where Cardi B then goes to talk about Offset's alleged lack of contribution towards his children's expenses. And she even throws in a little dig about the amount of time that he's spent with at least their youngest child. So a couple of things that, if I were the attorney involved in this case, a couple of things that I probably would have done differently. But in here, one of the things that really kind of grabbed the headlines was when Cardi B made this post, I'll say, she goes to talk about all of the expenses that she has for their children. She talks about them having a driver who's on retainer for $10,000 a month. The oldest child's school is $45,000 a year. The middle child's school is $35,000 a year. She's got her cousin babysitting at a rate of $3,000 a week. So if we're assuming 52 weeks a year, that's $156,000 a year. Not a bad gig. The youngest also has a nanny who is $500 a day. So on a yearly basis, that comes out to $182,500 a year. They've got tutoring 4 times a week for each of the 2 oldest kids at $250 an hour, bringing that up to $104,000. Piano classes 3 times a week for the oldest at $300 an hour for $46,800 a year. She says she doesn't know how much the gymnastics and the 3-year-old's boxing classes are, so an unknown amount there. And then the kids, of course, have a personal chef, as she says that no one in her house has time for cooking. She's busy, she's successful, things that maybe you or I or the average person might not understand, but in this world, that I could see that. That could be realistic. And then also a full-time security staff that she employs for her children, which, I mean, that also I can understand. With fame comes all of those concerns. And so there's additional costs there. So, tallying those up, well in excess of six figures. I mean, just using some rough math, we've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, almost $700,000 here, just not even doing the math. Quite expensive. And she says that Offset has not contributed to any of those things. And I think that was sort of spurred by, like I said, his request for spousal maintenance. Offset himself, as you may know, he was part of Migos rap group. And see, Justin.
I had no idea where I heard that name, and then as soon as you said that, okay, now
Justin is my man behind the curtain. He is the Wizard of Oz here for us. And so Justin just came to the realization that he does in fact know who Offset is. We had a conversation prior to this. I was like, where does that, how do I know that name? Migos, that's right. So they've been married for 7 years. He's requesting spousal maintenance. And that's not uncommon when one spouse earns more than the other. From the estimates that I've seen, Cardi B's net worth is around $80 million. And the article that I read said that it was greater than 2 times what Offset's estimated net worth is. So, we figure if it would have been 4 times, then they would have used that number. So somewhere, his net worth is probably somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000. So let's just say 30 million. I'm sorry, not thousand. Jeez. So we can safely estimate that Offset's net worth is somewhere between $20 and $40 million. So we'll just use $30 million as a rough estimate. So not uncommon to request spousal maintenance. Whether or not a judge is going to award someone who has a net worth of $30 million spousal maintenance is another question, but certainly not uncommon to request that, and certainly not uncommon to get a visceral reaction to that request, especially when the other party does make a significant income. One thing that I found that I thought was notable and interesting was that for his 30th birthday, Cardi B had gifted Offset a $2 million check. Interesting. Interesting from my perspective as an attorney, because if it's a gift, then that's his separate property. That is not going to be divided as part of the marital estate, unless it was possibly commingled, or there's a number of ways that it could go back into the marital estate. But as a gift, that's something that he may be seeking to have, set aside. He's also seeking for a 50-50 division of the marital assets. I don't know what portion of that $80 million net worth is marital, but I would imagine a significant sum if they've been married for 7 years. So, as I said earlier, though, a couple of things that, as their attorney, I maybe would have done differently. Certainly, I wouldn't be putting all of this stuff out on social media. It's, understandable. They are very public individuals. And certainly, I would imagine that this additional public exposure is probably going to help in terms of, any new releases, keeping their names on the front pages, all those sort of things. But in terms of within the divorce context, not generally, if I were a judge, not something that I would want to see. Certainly not something that is going to necessarily be beneficial for the children going forward. So certainly some questions there. Now, interestingly, Offset also had quite a reaction to this hard launch. There were some sort of, I'll say there were humorous back and forth postings between Stefan Diggs and Offset. Some references to passing off Cardi B from Offset to Stefan. Stefan putting a post out there about, him catching a football thing, kind of a little reference there. But then there was a follow-up post that has really kind of escalated things, in my opinion, where Stefan Diggs posted a picture of himself getting braids that were at least very similar, if not exactly the same, as one of Cardi B and Offset's children. And so Offset took that personally, to use the Michael Jordan meme, and he had a pretty visceral response. I believe, let me pull this up here because I want to make sure I get the statement right. He said, now, when somebody die for playing with my son, then call me the crash out. Okay. Clearly, I'll say, no judgment, visceral reaction. Okay. Somebody starts getting involved with you and your children and your children's relationship. I can see a very, see a response that I understand. However, this response on Twitter, knowing what used to be called Twitter, what's now called X, this response from a divorce context, absolutely not something that you want to see as an attorney, or I would imagine something that you would want to see if this ever gets in front of a judge. Offset then, I assume, probably talked to his attorney, and all of his social media has since been deactivated, probably for the best. Sometimes that is the best advice, is to say, hey, just stay off of it altogether. Don't even have that temptation. We've seen so many different times people posting things, posting reactions on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, any kind of social media, and it just come back to bite you. So, this is certainly one of those that we're going to be keeping tabs on. I'm going to see kind of how it progresses, see what the ultimate outcome is. But there's some lessons that we can learn, obviously, from what's already gone on. And, number one, try and stay off the social media if you can. It's a huge disadvantage. It's free discovery. As an attorney, I love it. It's free discovery. It's something I can go on there, I can find, takes minimal effort to get on there, and you can get some really juicy evidence off of social media. But in terms of if you're going through a divorce, something to stay off of, stay away from it. Another thing that I saw, interestingly, I just saw this recently, if you're familiar with the rapper The Game, he kind of weighed in on this whole process, and he posted saying, Offset should go pursue Angel Reese. Now, I don't know if he was joking. I don't know if this was something that, he was saying seriously. He said, he should take Angel Reese to Hawaii. But this is something that comes up in your everyday divorce case, getting advice, unsolicited advice, perhaps, from friends, from relatives, from anybody other than your lawyer. Not necessarily always the best advice, right? Should we go tit for tat? Should we go, you do something to me, I'm going to do something back to you? Generally, not the best idea. You want to try and come into court with as clean of hands as possible. If you're going to be in there complaining about what the other person is doing, you can't be doing the same thing yourself, right? So, very interesting stuff, very public personas, clearly not shy in terms of putting all this stuff out there for us to analyze, for us to view. So I suspect we're probably going to be coming back to this. Weigh in for us, let us know. What do you think about this? What do you think in terms of what Cardi B's doing, in terms of putting her relationship out there very, very publicly? What do you think about Offset's reaction? Too far, maybe. Good idea to get off social media, or, should he just go with it? As a lawyer, personally, I think it's probably a bad idea to just go with it. But maybe you have a different opinion. And then what about Stefan Diggs, right? What if you're the new person in this relationship? How much are you getting involved? Generally speaking, it can be really dicey. It can be very problematic for the person that's going through the divorce process if they're in a new relationship and that person is coming out publicly inserting themselves into the divorce process, particularly when it comes to kids. It can create some big problems, as we've seen here play out in this one. So let us know what you think. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. let us know what other topics you want to see. But we are, I think, going to be following up on this one. I think it's going to be going on for a little while here. And so I think we're going to have some good talks about this one, good conversations. Let me know. I do want it to be a conversation. So, let me know what you think about it. And until next time, no judgment here.